Welcome back to another AlecDB video. Today we are in a field and we are talking about assistant psychologists and their role in the care of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So, what is intellectual and developmental disabilities? Well, it's a catch-all term which begins during development. So, typically that's up until the age of 18. And it includes two different limitations. So that includes one being intellectual functioning and the second being adaptive behavior. So what can an assistant psychologist do in a team for intellectual and developmental disabilities? Well, they can offer screening and assessments of people within the service and on the waiting lists. And they can offer report writing to summarize their findings and give that back to the clinical psychologist and wider multidisciplinary team. In addition to that, they may do adaptive behavioral analyses in which they look at challenging behaviors and the function of those behaviors. And they may look to devise positive behavioral support plans in order to help the individual to meet their own needs without the challenging or harmful behavior. On top of that, they may offer training, for example, in emotion regulation skills, in CBT informed practices, in ways of understanding and approaching people with challenging behavior. They can also offer low intensity adapted CBT sessions on a one-to-one basis, group interventions and psychoeducation. So what exactly are screenings? Well, as we all know, the NHS services are limited, and typically services have inclusion-exclusion criteria. Screenings effectively are whether you meet those criteria for further assessments or support and interventions from the service. That was a bloody motorbike. So, for more in-depth assessments, what can they offer? Well, we can offer as assistant psychologists cognitive assessments, for example, using the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, often thought of as an IQ test. We can also offer assessment of adaptive behavior and daily functioning using scales like the ABAS. We can offer mental health assessments, for example, for people with learning disabilities, the Glasgow Anxiety and Depression Scales. They can also offer behavioral assessments and risk assessments. Overall, working with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, such as people with autism, people with Down syndrome, varies a lot, and it's a wide-ranging term. And the work as a psychologist, therefore, varies a lot. Sometimes in learning disabilities, it can be you can find yourself doing more assessment-based work, but equally, you might find that you can provide a lot of benefit to those people with comorbidities from between mild to severe mental health difficulties. So that's a brief overview of intellectual and developmental disabilities and what assistant psychologists can offer to those in their care and the wider team. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.